can I just say a big thank you for this wonderful turnout. I'm speaking on behalf of my colleague, Martin McWilliam, who is on the couch for the Q&A, but at the moment I'd just like to introduce the evening. We're here to celebrate, this is Martin now, thank you Martin, we're here to celebrate the 10th series of Moving On, which I won't go into, most of you are fans anyway, I won't go into how wonderful it is because we've got a short evening. We're showing tonight 2 of the 5 upcoming episodes for the BBC, and the first episode is Isabel. The second episode is Isabel, and the second one is By Any Other Name. These were produced by LA Productions. LA Productions is owned by our dear friend and honorary doctor, Colin McKeown, somewhere here in the audience. There he is. And they exec produce them. I don't think I need to introduce to anybody the series writer, Jimmy McGovern, who is also here somewhere. Jimmy, wherever you are. Jimmy started, from Cracker to, I don't know, Hillsborough, Common, loads of issues-based stuff Jimmy's written. Recently, Care with Alison Steadman and Sheridan Smith. Jimmy's, you'd be here all night just doing Jimmy, so we have to move on. But I think one of our unsung heroes is Donna Malloy, who is a producer for all of the series with Colin. She works endlessly and I think does an amazing job. Tonight we have with us 2 special guests, Andrew Lynch, who wrote By Any Other Name, Isabel, and Anya, who directed By Any Other Name, Anya Camilleri, who directed Isabel. Sorry, I've got those 2 things back to front. I apologise. So we've got an awful lot of really interesting and wonderful creative people here. Tina up there and lots of set stuff. And I can see loads of interesting people, cast and crew, and we can't mention them all. So all I want to say is thank you all for turning up. Thank you for using Edge Hill as a place for the premiere because we really appreciate that. It's wonderful for the university and for our students. And I think without further ado, we'll just get on with the evening. Thank you very much.
So I'll ask the panel just one quick question and then we'll throw it up and you can ask some questions as well. Jimmy, I want to start with you and, given that you're on the sharp end of it, mate, excavating the story, initially, and then triaging what story to use. On behalf of some of our, junior writers there, what do you look for, Jim? What do you look in the initial presence of the story? What are you looking for?
I think you look for a kind of passion or sense of integrity, that the story is coming from somewhere personal, that it means something, rather than cops and robbers and stuff, That's what I look for, especially in that first one. I mean, that was a deeply personal story for Andy, and I think it shone through,
When it comes to which stories do you prefer to write? I mean, you've wrote hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories in all the various dramas that you've done. If it becomes personal, does it become better, or is that just a factor of,
No, absolutely. I think, as you say, I've written hundreds and hundreds of episodes of soaps, and mainly you're doing somebody else's, you're doing a team storyline. So it's rarely particularly that personal for you. But when I'm writing something like Isabel, I think you've got to, as you're writing it, you've got to smile, you've got to laugh, you've got to cry, and it becomes that personal. And if it doesn't, how can you expect anybody else to get under its skin, sort of thing? So yeah, I mean, there's a sort of commercial need to make money type of writing, and there's writing that is really important for you. That's.
And Annie, can I ask you, because you directed Andy's work, right? So as a director, does it weigh heavy on you when the writer's on your case and it's his fucking story and he's lived through it? Is that more pressure from your perspective?
You feel that you really need to serve the script well. You know, you need to get really underneath the texture of the script and forget yourself and immerse yourself completely in those characters and try and see their point of view and empathize with them and try and make the script, you know, sing as much as possible. So you try and get those moments of truth. When you're directing, you're trying to find those moments of truth. And I have no idea whether I achieved that or not, but I tried my best.
From your perspective, it was a different job. You had not a personal tale, but you know, something that had to straddle a bit of comedy, you know, had to gain our interest and so forth. How do you think, and for your perspective really, you handle the script? Because there was a lot of pressures on you really in different areas.
I was a bit nervous, I have to say, because usually Moving On is known for being gritty and kind of, and this was very much lighter, and so I was really nervous. I was really nervous about this because I just thought, oh God, this is not going to be what everyone expects. So, but I think the actors did the script proud, and Emma was, you know, was on hand to give us, you know, just give us a hand with anything we needed to know and how she intended it to be. So, yeah, I think it was. I'm really pleased, and I just think they did a brilliant job with. And you know, Shobna carried it as well brilliantly and their relationship, her and Ben's relationship, was really lovely. So yeah, no, I was really pleased. But it was terrific. Yeah, wasn't he? Yeah, he was a real find.
He was tremendous. I thought Pauline was amazing as well. Yeah, you know, she could have gone for laughs, and she went for truth and integrity in a comic role that you don't see very often. You know, that was the cleaning supervisor, Pauline. Yeah. I thought she was absolutely magnificent.
I spoke to her on the phone today, and she was like, I'm really nervous about did I overdo it? And I said, no, you really, you know, because she believed it. She said, the way I need to play this, you know, and we talked about it, was that she said, I really love this job, and I really want him to do well. You know, that's the whole, you know, and she was genuinely disappointed that he had. Yes.
And it was a unrequited love story. Yeah. It was an unrequited love story going on off the main beat of the narrative, which I thought she was magnificent. She was a wonderful actress. You know.
And Michelle, from your point of view, you didn't just have the problem of these 2 episodes that you've seen. You've had the problem for 65 fucking episodes, basically, that you've done. Which is it 60? No, 65. It is 65, isn't it, Donna? That's right. 60. Oh, well, sorry, I've just galloped you forward 5 more. But what particular problems were thrown up on that? And answer the question about diversity, by the way. How do you integrate that? Is it just what hits you at the script? Do you look around for a percentage? Do you know?
The best actor. Sorry, I've not got a microphone, but I'll try to speak louder. You look for the best actor for the part, regardless of, you know, where they're from, or, you know, what diversity they are. You just and that's great that you're just looking at people as people, and not you know,
Yeah, that's great. So Donna, it's 60, not 65, but and still counting, really, in a way. Each one has posed different problems, really. Take us through the university. You must have think, holy Jesus, where are we going to cast this in the first place? Where are we going to find a location?
Well, it was a dream, really, to be able to come in here and use it like we did. Because, I mean, we only get 6 days to shoot an episode, which is tight, but to have the access that we did here within sort of, fortunately, I think you weren't actually at college or uni at the time, so that helped a lot. So was just very generous to allow us in, you know, all over the building for 6 days. I think we only clashed once because there was some sort of exams at one point, but obviously we don't actually, don't want to interfere with everyday life. You know, we're not more important than what's going on around us, but, you know, we'll always try and fit in, and it was generous to let us in here, really. And it's a beautiful building. You've got fantastic resources here. And, you know, the beauty of you've got modern buildings next to, you know, beautiful period property, and I'm sure we'll be back, you know, because it's to be able to move from one part of a campus to the other and have two totally different buildings, you know, time is money in our industry, so to be able to get from one place to another and have some totally different locations is a dream.
And the students were fantastic. Really.
Yeah.
Can we just thank Roy Bayfield, wherever he is in the audience, for that, because Roy facilitated all of that, so thanks, Roy.
Thank you. Can I throw it over to you now? Is there any questions you want to?
No. It's quite ironic because most of the time I'm mistaken for the cleaner in this building. No, I would just like to thank you all so much for that, and I'll never think again about in the same way about the bins in lecture rooms at Edge Hill University. Given time's getting on, and there's probably lots of questions people would like to ask. Let's open the floor, see if some people have got questions for the team. Now there are microphones come round. I know people always say that, but we need you to use the microphone, otherwise the cameras won't pick it up. So at the front here. Yeah.
Thank you for I like the fact that we got so much. We got the comedy, we got the integrity, but I want to speak to this gentleman. I don't know how you wrote that, but we're living that right now, and it literally smashed my face in.
Wow.
Really beautifully done. Because I was thinking, I said to her, did a woman write that? She said, no. And that's what's brilliant about when you go for the truth. You know, you don't know me, I don't know you, but
That's great.
That's what drama does, doesn't it? It shines a light on a painful place, and he's comforting me, so I'm like, in the front row, and it's just been brilliant. And the comedy, moving on, is not necessarily known for comedy, but it's known for truth. It's known for issues and truth. It's known for a lot of things, and I'm just really delighted that it's moving on, it's still going on, and that there's all this great work happening in Merseyside, to be honest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hiya, Cal. I haven't got a question really, so much as an observation. I was made up with the success of Elliot Productions because of the camaraderie that they show, you know. And watching the credits, some of them kids have been there since the Brookside days. If it's not them, it's their sons or daughters. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. And although they're both writers in their own way, I love the rivalry between Andy and Jimmy. Because I love them both as human beings. And Andy said to me once, he said, he has a bet with Jimmy every year. He has a £100 bet on the football or whatever it is. And at the end of the season, he pay up. And Andy lost the bet. And he had to go to Jimmy's house with the £100. And he said, I've come with the £100, Jimmy, for the bet. And where should I put it? And Jimmy said, just put it over there under one of my BAFTAs.
I just wanted to say about Ricky, by the way, you're right, Rick. It's an extension of Brookside, really, in a way. And a lot of the people behind the scenes, a lot of people in dubbing, Brian Nelson and all them. So us, we're just carrying the baton on, mate, really, in a way. And yeah. But I want to say about Ricky, by the way, please don't get him to buy a drink, because he's the biggest minge bag I know. But having said that, this gentleman here gave £1 million away to hospice. This is well done, Rick. Ricky, the next time you can do that, you can just do £1 million less a few drinks for your mates. That would be great. Anybody else?
I'm quite surprised that there wasn't a priest in it. The priest, everyone was looking at the priest. Not Jimmy. He must be very
Now, come on, ladies and gentlemen, this is a great opportunity to ask this panel a question, and you know, it's not going to happen for long. Come on.
Hi, I really enjoyed both of them. Really, really brilliant. And particularly with the first one, and maybe with the second one as well, that we live in an age of increasing social media and so on, and technology, and within the context of human interaction and emotions and so on, how has the impact of technology impacted on your writing? You know, even in things of like writing the Facebook message or the email or what have you. It's tricky, I would imagine, both writing and filming, particularly with our youngsters when they're using those devices a lot more. It must be increasingly difficult or challenging to write. What are your thoughts?
I personally just ignore it, but I don't know about Andy. I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to ignore it, unless it's to your own benefit. But I think it's on the other side to it. I think there are programs now that just seem to rely on it, and the things like Homeland and the high-tech spy type thing, and you just think they get away with murder because it's like they have cameras everywhere, and there aren't that. I mean, they use it as a shortcut instead of the old style sort of detective work, which takes a bit of effort writing. It's now so easy just to say, oh, we got it on, what do you call the camera?
Closed circuits.
Closed circuit thing.
Yeah. I always used to argue that if you wrote a narrative that depended on something being captured by CCT, you failed as a writer. And now, now everything's on CCT or the equivalent thereof, you know. But
we're old, so we can't pretend.
Yeah.
I must say, we do. I kind of feel like as soon as you see anything like that in a script, you kind of go, "Oh God, how are we going to do that?" Because it usually there's some kind of technical thing where, and Tina and everyone in the art department just did wonders with graphics and making amazing, you know. And I think I kind of felt like let's put everything as much as we can, make everything as visual as possible without trying to rely on phones, because it just ends up being so predictable, and it's not. It doesn't read very well on screen really, unless, you know, like, and the device and the Facebook, it was great to see it on a big screen because usually it's on a tiny phone. So because it was a necessary and a very important device there, I think that was brilliant. But I try and avoid it if possible and use the spoken word. And the only reason our character used his phone was for music. That was his way of, you know, of escape. So that was the only reason we ever had his phone in use, really. And
those two brilliant pieces of television, so thank you for showing us that tonight. I'm a student at Edge Hill, studying film and TV production. And is there any advice or insight to the industry that you would all wish you'd been given at my age or when you were at the starting point of your career?
It's a trick question. I think we've been asked a tricky question. We've been asked that many times, really. I think if you went round all of us and said, how did you get into this industry, we'd start off with, well, I just bumbled into it, really. But the wonderful thing you have is you're not bumbling into anything. You've got an opportunity to observe, to look. For me, it would be to study a little bit more. I didn't have the opportunity to do it because I was a bumbler and I bumbled into it. So I would have liked somebody say to me, if you know you're going to do this and get involved in this industry, find out a little bit more about it, because I'm slightly, forgive my language, pissed off when people come to us and have done no research, they know nothing about the industry, and yet it's so sad that, you know, DVDs of shelves are full of raw material to draw from. So bloody well draw from them, you know. Find out various things, find out where you want to go, and try to put your foot in the door and say, let me see where I'd like to be, and don't make a decision too quickly. I wish somebody had said that to me.
Also, when you're very young, a lot of people say, I want to be in film or I want to be in television. They write to me, they talk to me. I always try and help everybody, obviously. But I think it's really important to be focused about what you want to do and actually show that you want to do it. So if you want to be a writer, write. If you want to be a director, direct. Get an iPhone, make a film, 3 minutes, 1 minute, anything. If you want to be an editor, edit, you know. So I think it's a fantastic time to be doing this. Because when we were doing it, when we started, it was all Super 8 movies, it cost money, we couldn't really make a film cheaply. I mean, it was difficult, whereas now you can just do it. So I think that's very, very important, not to just turn up and say, I want to do this, because anybody can do that. And start following your passion and not be afraid and fail and make mistakes, because mistakes are part of your learning curve. You learn much more by a mistake than you do by when you get it right. And filmmaking isn't a you know, there's no perfection in it. It's just an instinct. So you've got to follow those instincts and hone them as much as you can, and study, learn about the history and what other people did. You know, there was a great Walt Disney documentary last night. He got turned down everywhere, and not only did he get turned down everywhere, when he did get his first film, they nicked his idea and stole all his animators and took everything from him. And he fought back. He didn't give up. He just said, right, sod all of you. And he went back and he just proved them all wrong. So that's a real lesson in how to get there, really. You know, just follow your dreams, don't it?
I think I absolutely second that. And I would also say take every bit of advice you can get and follow it, because, you know, you always get asked about, oh, how did you do this and how did you do that? And I do think sometimes people want an easy shoe-in. It's not easy. It's probably the hardest thing you'll do. Certainly directing is, you know, to get in and stay in is quite hard, and to keep getting those opportunities. But take every opportunity you can and take as much advice as you can, I would say.
I just want to finish by thanking everybody. Thank you for coming tonight, fundamentally. I think Donna has got a date for the transmission, have we done roughly of this?
4th of February.
4th of February. So please tune in, you know. We need as many, you know, viewers as we possibly can to hopefully keep the show going. It's been fantastic for us to be here tonight. Great that we were able to use university. I hope you believe we used it well. On behalf of the whole team here, thanks a lot, and come and have a drink.